All right, so the question is, which one is categorical based on making categories or groups of data?
D.
I heard D and D, Dungeons and Dragons. So, I've heard C. What type of chips are these? That would put the chips in a category. You wouldn't say what type of chips are these, you'd be like 7. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Okay. And then I also heard D. Again, we see the word types of chips. Okay? And we could categorize the types of chips, right? We got the curled ones, we got the Dorito-ish tortilla ones, we got the potato chips, we got the buffalo chips, okay? All the chips. Yeah. So, categorical can be categorized or grouped, okay? So we have categorical data, which is categories and groups. We have numerical data, and guess what that deals with?
Numbers.
Yeah, you got it, numbers. Things that are quantitative. Do you remember from 6th grade, quantitative versus qualitative?
Yeah.
Categories are kind of qualitative. Numerical data is quantitative. So measurements, lengths. We have numbers, quantities of things, numbers, okay? Weight of 10 different dogs would be an example. So you're going to look back at the warm-up and tell me, after 10 seconds with your group, which one of these are numerical data sets. You got me, man? Which one's numerical?
Thinking A and B.
How many? I could see that. And what is the typical number? Okay. Typical number of chips in a bag. Both of those we would use a number to answer it, correct?
But couldn't you do D as
Yeah, you know what? D is the one that I was thinking about too, right? So what type of chips do they prefer? An answer to that would be blue Takis, right? Okay? Something like that. How you would get the answer to that by using a number after you added up everything in a category. That's the toughest one. So D is actually categorical. You would then assign a number to say how many are in that category to answer the question. Are you guys seeing that?
Yeah.
It's like it's tough because you would use a number in the process, but the answer would not be numerical. You'd be taking categorical data. Like if you ask somebody, what's your favorite chip? They'd say the different categories of chips. Then you'd add it up to then answer the question. So categorical. That's a tough one. That has come up several times today in classes or as a question, if nothing else. That's good. So next we have statistical questions. That's when we have a data set that is expected to have variability. So an example would be, when do students in your class typically eat dinner? We probably have a variety of times within a range, but a variety of times, right? Now let's say I asked 3 people and they all said 5:30 p.m. Okay, let's say they said that. Even though there's no variability, would the expectation be we would expect 3 different people to maybe have different times, right? So by coincidence, we can get the same, no variability, but we're expecting variability here. So a statistical question, it's expected to have variable answers, okay? How about this question? How many people are in this classroom?
29.
Should we okay, whatever the answer is, should we expect variability or is there just one answer?
one answer?
There's one answer right now, okay? So when we get just that one answer, if we get that one answer, then it's non-statistical. Non-statistical question would be a question answered by a specific measurement. There's one answer. There's no variability. That would not be statistical. We would not use data to come to a conclusion. So looking at our warm-ups.
So like this one is B.
Right here. How many potato chips in this bag? Statistical or not? Not. There's just an answer. There's not a collection of data, right? No variability. What's the typical number of chips in a bag of chips?
That's not maybe.
To answer that, what would I have to do? I'd have to count chips in one bag or multiple bags. And then I'd have a set of data, which means statistical. Okay? Question C, what type of chips are these? There would be no variability. It just is this one thing, right? Okay? And then D, what type of chips do students in this class prefer? Statistical, right? There's going to be a variety of answers. Now, this one is categorical, right? There's not a number associated to the types. We could analyze our data to get numbers of types. We're going to get some practice with this. In the other examples you're going to see, it's going to vary. So there's 2 ways we're going to classify. We're going to classify as statistical or not, and we're going to classify as numerical, or categorical. Okay? Each gets one of each. Each thing, each type of question for this data would get one of each. And again, you're going to see more questions, you're going to get a little practice, and we're going to keep getting better. So here's the directions for what we're doing next. Now, your group is going to get a little sheet of paper with 3 questions on it. All right? These questions are not ready to ask somebody. It's a question like you would need information to answer, but it's not a question you can just read the question to somebody. The first thing you're going to do is change the 3 questions into survey questions. So for example, we asked all those questions. All right? So what's kind of going to be nice is your questions correspond to each other. So I just want, for question number 1, who can read me your question from your group? Question number 1. Who would like to share? All right, Mai.
How many letters are in your last name?
So how many letters? What a last name. Okay. So we're not going to answer that yet. What's another group's number 1? Yeah, Liam. What? Is it the same one? No, it's the first one, number 1.
How long did it take you to get to school?
So how long to get to school?
Yeah.
What?
So in these questions, we're going to be talking about statistical, non-statistical, and categorical, numerical. So everybody's number 1, even if yours is different, it's the same as these. Is it statistical or not statistical? It's statistical. And the reason is there's a collection of data of different answers. Right? You all don't expect to live the same distance from school. You aren't all expected to have the same number of letters in your last name. The next question is it categorical or numerical? What do you guys think? Everybody's is numerical. So these are both, for problem number 1, or question number 1, they're all statistical and numerical. Variety of data involving numbers, even if you had the other cards, okay? Problem number 2, question number 2 for everybody. Let's just do one of them. Who can read question number 2 from their group? Georgia?
What's your birthday month?
So birthday month. Okay, so is this statistical or not? It's statistical. Is there a variety of answers? Okay. And then is it numerical or categorical?
It can be both. It can be both.
It's going to be categorical. So even if you assign a number to a month, people are getting put into that category of their birth month. Okay? Now you could add up how many people and then you have a number, but the data is categorical. It's your month, okay? And number 3. Let's go. Emmeline.
What year was the 13th Amendment ratified?
So year of 13th Amendment?
1865.
Yeah, 1865. So, statistical or not? Not. Okay, non-statistical because there's just one answer, right? There's not a variable. Then, is it categorical or numerical? Numerical. It's a year, right? So I can already tell we're all getting that statistic or not statistic. We get the numerical, we get the categorical better than we did when we started. And that's the point of a lesson, right? So you're going to next, I'm going to hand out the lesson summary sheet. You're gonna rephrase what these are, and then I'm going to hand out the homework and we'll get after it, okay? So here it comes. Back to your seats that you started in. You should be really close, right?